Hello, and welcome to the Innovia conversation. I'm Steve Waltz.
And I'm Jeff Pergolski.
And Jeff, I don't know about you, but I'm hungry for some food, man.
Food. Yeah, I'm always hungry. Um, and it turns out that today's topic is talking about the Innovia food IP that we have created for Business Central.
Nice. And food is such a broad category, right? It's for our listeners out there, we have quite a few of our customers are in either food manufacturing or food distribution, and we even have some food retailers. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the journey of how we decided to get into the food IP business.
Sure. So this is something that we've been working on for the past year or two. I think mostly because we were asked to solve the same problems for a lot of our mostly food customers. And so, with our great food team of Scott Borsodi and Scott Warner, we attacked this problem and we came up with 5 different functional areas that address a majority, I think, of the parts of Business Central that don't really support the food industry. And just to lay the groundwork, um, those 5 areas are catch weights, order guides, enhanced pricing, and advanced lot control, and rebates and billbacks. So we've developed a solution in each of those different 5 areas, and we are going to be releasing this not on the App Store in Business Central, but we're just making this available to our customers. And there's a lot of overhead that saves us in terms of the design of the solution. But we're I think really excited. I think we've implemented at least one of these solutions to an end user already, and we're going to be doing a larger rollout. So there will be some videos that get into it a little bit deeper, but pretty excited about it.
So are those considered apps then?
Yeah, well, I guess to be a true app, it would have to be available in the
Gotcha.
extension via extension management. But we've created extensions that are a complete solution that can just be installed into a BC environment. And I should clarify that these are all designed for Business Central SaaS. So the various versions of the cloud product, I think we've got the ability to tweak these in a cost-effective manner for older versions of the on-prem product, but our primary focus was to look forward and design this for the SaaS world.
So if a client is running NAV 2017, so you're saying there's a chance?
There is a chance, yes. There is, and I think we've done some tweaks. I don't know. It might even have been a 2017 on-prem instance that we've implemented one of these solutions. I think our rebate solution on might even been an older version. But yeah, so once we have created the code, we went through and had one of our application consultants create design documents um, for these 5 solution areas based on feedback from our customers and from our own internal food experts. So I think we've got a really great product. And so if it's okay with you, I'll just start, maybe speak briefly to those 5 different functional areas and kind of give people the lowdown on what it involves.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
All right. So again, we're calling food IP, but there could be businesses organizations that this applies to that aren't food. So let me get through the 5 of them. The first one that I'm going to start with is catch weights. So catch weights, for maybe those who aren't familiar, is a parallel unit of measure used to manage variable weight products. And I think of it like I go to the grocery store and I buy a pack of chicken. those packs of chicken are maybe, 3 pounds approximately. But if I get a pack that is 2.9 pounds, I expect to pay less than if I get a pack that's 3.2 pounds. So setting up a catch weights in Business Central involves creating an alternative unit of measure that we can transact on, both on the purchase side and the sales side. So, we're going to receive 20 cases of chicken, and those cases maybe should weigh 50 pounds. We want to, receive a pallet of that. We don't want to scan in 50 different packs. So setting up our catch weight solution will allow our customers to transact in that manner, to just scan the barcodes, bring in inventory based on maybe cases, and then of course on the purchasing side, we are going to pay our vendor based on the actual weight of those individual cases. But and then on the sales side of selling to our customers, we are going to be able to sell by the case, but referencing the weight of that case, so that we have accurate numbers both from the quantity of cases as well as the pounds of inventory throughout the system. So that is our catch weight solution. Pretty exciting stuff, huh, Steve?
Well, it is, because you think about it, because it's like price per pound, but they're chickens, right? So they're not all going to weigh the same. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yep, and that is just something that Business Central out of the box doesn't do well. And so, rather than us reinventing the wheel every time our customer asks for this, we've invested some time, energy, and money into creating a solution. So that's catch weights. The second area of our Innovia food IP is designed for the salesperson. And Steve, I think that this would be right up your alley, but it is what we refer to as order guides. And an order guide is a improved interface for salespeople to add items to a sales order in a manner that, I guess, in a more efficient manner. So order guides act sort of as an order template with a pre-built list of items that the customer has already purchased. It also displays historical information about, the last time that the customer ordered, the quantity that they ordered, and the price that they paid. And it also shows margin numbers on the individual line if you want that enabled. And so a lot of great information, whether your sales team is taking an order on the phone and sitting in front of their computer, or if they're in person, let's say they're at the customer site and it's a restaurant, and they tell you, just give me the same chicken and beef that you sent me last month, but I need to add some other stuff to that. You can pull that up without having to go and research historical documents. You can look at the order guide that launches right from the sales order screen within Business Central and see that historical information. So also seeing margin numbers in the very competitive food industry, understanding, maybe where if you're looking at an order and the customer is really squeezing you on price on a certain item and you're not going to make much at all, but you see that the other 6 lines of the order give you a substantial profit, maybe that makes you a little more strategic in your decision making about pricing. And then ultimately having those order guides also allow you to create order guides that maybe help suggest items. So let's say that you're running a special, you brought on a new product line, and that new product line, you can create an order guide for that and assign that to all your customers, so that when the sales rep is in there, he can take the historical information, he can add those lines, and then he can swap the order guide to a new product launch order guide that shows you pricing and margin on these different items, and and could maybe help you increase new sales as well as giving the improved interface for historical. So what do you think about order guides, Steve?
Well, as a salesperson, and actually, I back in my previous life had something similar to that. But I mean, that's the thought of like, especially in the food service, right? Somebody goes in, meets with the food service director, placing some orders to be able to pull up on the screen and not have to search and have it more accessible and knowing right then and there versus I'll get back with you. There's a lot of benefit to that. So that's very cool stuff. And it's, and a lot of that stuff can get complex. So to hear that we have those order guides because this chain might have different pricing than this group, and this one might have different ones than that one, right? So to have individual ones for each one, it's pretty cool.
Yep. And I think that, working with the new pricing model in Business Central, where, you can have multiple price books and customers can qualify for different pricing with, based on their membership into a pricing group or a discount group, etc. So this just sort of adds to that. But ultimately, I think the emphasis is on an improved, more efficient interface for salespeople to enter these documents when, in the moment you're on the phone call with the customer, you're not like, hold on, let me pull up your historical invoices, or you're in front of them and, like, hey, last time you ordered 20 cases from me, are you sure you don't want to bump that up? So yeah, I think that's really exciting. And so that's point number 2 in our food IP. The third part of our Innovia food IP is enhanced pricing. So that kind of goes hand in hand with the order guide, but it turns out, and some of this stuff was educational for me, that within the food industry, sales pricing is frequently dependent on a markup to a set cost. So that set cost isn't always isn't always the set unit cost that's set up on the item card within Business Central. And an example that Scott gave me is that, let's say you've got a warehouse full of oranges and that you're looking to get rid of, and then there's a huge freeze in Florida, and the orange prices, go up significantly. That you are going to have to replenish your industry or your inventory, and that replenishment is going to be at the new price, and that's going to be higher. So there's a I'm trying to think of what the right word is. There's I guess it's just referred to as market cost. So differing costs within the industry on a particular item. We want to have that reflected in our enhanced pricing module for customers. So if the cost of to replace inventory is something different than the actual price on what we paid, we've got the ability to set our price based on those. So what we've added in this functional area is the ability to facilitate the process for creating and updating market cost records that allow users to set filters and apply adjustment factors, as well as set effective dates to create market cost records. And then these market costs can be used within we can actually update them using the configuration worksheet, which is a part of base Business Central. And then the idea is that we can see historically what we have charged for this item. So, if we get something where it's the price has been dipping and now it's going to bounce back up, and we're like, wow, that's like a 25% increase. Well, we can look and see that, maybe that 25% is not even what the high price has been in the last 12 or 18 months. So it gives us and our customers the ability to calculate pricing based on those different market factors, and to be able to do it in a flexible way so that, if we want to base that on a fixed profit percentage, like if we know that we need to make 10% on whatever, 10% above market cost, we can select that as the cost calculation basis. If we need it to be a certain percentage of cost markup, we can do that. And then if we want it to be something as simple as a fixed amount above cost, we can set it that way. So it's, we want to make $5 on every case we sell. So so those are the enhancements that we've put in under enhanced pricing, and it gives us the ability to kind of stay flexible to the market and keep track of all those changes, and I think do it in a really efficient manner. So between order guides and enhanced pricing, I think there is definitely something for the salespeople in these organizations.
Yeah, the variable pricing model is crazy because when you were talking about that, I kept thinking, beef prices change, poultry and all that, but also let's say you're doing natural resources or precious metals, right? I mean, there's going to be folks like that that have like we got some jewelry distributors. I was thinking, you know, these commodity prices are changing daily. That could be something outside the food industry that might be interested in that also.
True. Yep. That's a good point. So we're now past the halfway point. So we've hit the first three, and the fourth area of our food IP is what we're referring to as advanced lot control. So remember, a lot in Business Central is a group of inventory items. It turns out in the food industry that because of maybe some government regulatory compliance rules, or just our customer preferences, that we need a little bit more information on a lot than what base Business Central gives us. So like those types of things that are required are the age of the lot, like that's in base Business Central. But when the item was packed, maybe at the supplier, or a freshness date, a best used by date, those sort of data points. And then also by setting up these enhanced lot tracking, including information like the farm that the lot came from, if it's going through a supplier, or if we're receiving that, everyone's forced to keep track of that all the way through the supply chain. And so now our customers that want to use that within Business Central will be able to do that using this food IP add-in. But it also gives us the ability to set preferences for our customers. So let's say that we're selling strawberries to a customer, and certain customers are really picky about freshness, and they say, don't send us any lots that expire in less than 15 days, because we know by the time it gets through our distribution and in front of our customers, it takes us that long. So our advanced lot control gives us the ability to set preferences when we are picking lots for our customers on sales orders. So on the way in, our enhanced or advanced, I guess, lot control gives us the ability to record extra information, like down to the farm level, freshness dates, packing dates, supplier, lot number. So we have several extra fields. And then on the outgoing side, because we're gathering all that information, and we can use different dates. If it's a freshness date, a best used by date, we can use those different types of dates to pick lots that align with our customer preferences. So we've made extra fields available on the customer card so that we can record those preferences on a per item and per customer basis, and then we can tell the system to either when we're picking lots, we can either, and we're picking lots that are outside of the scope of what their preference is, it will either pop up a notification saying like, hey, this doesn't meet their lot requirement, maybe go look at another lot, or it just forbids that transaction from being processed if they're working on a handheld. sitting in front of a computer and specifying a lot. So it helps deliver better customer service because we don't have to remember, we don't have to tag it somewhere randomly in the on the customer card or in the sales order. We can actually have the system help us keep track of the customer preferences through this advanced lot control. So I think that sounds pretty cool to me.
It is very cool. Very nice, Jeff. It made me think of when I worked in the grocery store days of like stocking. So if you want the freshest bread, don't grab the loaf that's right in front of you. Go behind in the back. You want to get a gallon of milk, don't grab the first one. Go to the bottom shelf, look back there, and oh look, that's 4 days fresher. But but that was just a tip for everybody. But very cool, very cool stuff, Jeff.
Yeah, and as I was helping to prepare for demoing these solutions to our different project teams as well as our customers, it was again a learning experience for me to find out how these different food items have different timelines, and how things like bread have like a 24-hour, like they're making it and it's being packaged, and then you have things like fruit that maybe have a little bit longer, and then you get into the process side of things, but all those different scenarios are covered in our advanced lot control. So the last and maybe most I want to say maybe most complicated, but most powerful certainly part of the food IP solution is rebates and billbacks. And that is something that I know from demos that I've done on Base BC for food customers, we get asked about frequently. And then we also, I would say that, rebates and billbacks, that's not just a food business need. There are lots of customers who have a need to offer rebates and billbacks. And because Business Central doesn't offer a clean way of doing that out of the box, we came up with a solution. And it's common to have promotions offered from vendors and then oftentimes passed on to customers, which may be based on the volume of items that you're purchasing during a specific period, meeting specific criteria over a period of time. So let's say like, hey, we want, if for customers who are going to start buying our, let's say, fresh fruit, if you order $1,000 a month from us, we're going to give you a 5% rebate back. And then so what we've done is created this rebate solution so that we can keep track of in 3 different manners. We can do an invoice detail where you add the item that qualifies for a rebate, and right in the line of the sales order it will show a discounted amount, like, hey, you're ordering something that qualifies for a rebate, so we're going to deduct this line. There's a food summary or an invoice summary rebate that gives us the ability to collect all of that information. So let's say your customers purchase dozens of items from you at a time, and there might be multiple rebates set up. You don't want to turn a 1-page invoice into a 3-page invoice because of the details about rebates. So you're just going to have a summary rebate at the end saying this order qualified for X number of dollars. And then the third way that our rebate works is through accruals. And so maybe you have a 90-day promotion and you're going to keep track of all of those qualifying transactions. And then that's going to sit in a GL account so that we know that this is something that we owe our customers, but we are going to keep that in a GL account. And then at the end of the month or whatever the period is of the rebate program, we can generate customers credits for those qualifying transactions. And then maybe as part of our monthly statement, it sends out and it reflects the fact that there's a rebate transaction, so they can save money. And along that same line, so that kind of covers the different areas on the customer side. I guess I should also mention that these rebates are set up in the one of three different ways that I mentioned. And then you have the ability to include which particular items qualify for the rebate. So so you could, base it on something like an item category code. It could be everything from a certain vendor. We've also set up rebate groups, so items that belong to certain rebate groups. So we've got a number of different ways to select and slice and dice the items that qualify for these rebates. And then the second part of a rebate is who qualifies for that. So you can set it to all customers. You can set it to a specific rebate group of customers that we've added. It can, you can just pick 5 different customers. So we've got the ability to select based on the number of items and then the number of customers that qualify. And you can have multiple rebates, and you can have multiple rebates that apply to the same item. The system, we've added the ability to include operators like and or, so that if we get a really complicated rebate scenario, I think our rebates and billbacks food IP will cover it. And then on the purchasing side, oftentimes these rebates that we are offering our customers are being fully or partially funded by a vendor. So then we would want to keep track of those transactions on a vendor rebate as well. And so I think in one of my demos, I set up based on not purchasing from the demo or from the vendor, but purchasing for customers. You can set that as the source, so that every time I'm giving one of my customers a rebate for something they purchased from me, I'm generating an accrual for my with my vendor. So at the end of the program, I can send them create a purchase invoice credit memo that gives me the all of the line level detail about every transaction, date and amount and quantity. And it's all in this nicely configured package. So I had the most fun, I think, helping out and figuring out the rebates and billback process. The billback part of it, whether it's on the customer side or the vendor side, is the process of creating those credit documents that support the discounts that we've given in an accrual-based rebate program. But really, I think a great solution that really fits a need for lots of our customers. So that might be the one of the 5. I might have saved it for last because it's the one I'm most excited about.
Nice. Well, yeah, coming from that world, Jeff, that's great to hear, because it's when you go to the store or you go to a restaurant, and the food distribution behind it and commissions and rebates and incentives, it's crazy. And to hear that we have that IP, and also you don't have to be a food customer for that. If you're dealing with distributors or have other reps out there marketing your products, that it kind of there's a play in there also. But those are great conversations to have with your client success manager. So for those of you that are interested in learning more about this, please reach out to your client success manager. If you're not a customer with Innovia, just feel free to reach out to myself, and I'll be more than happy to have those conversations and point you right direction. We'll be updating our website as we add these additions to our portfolio. And Jeff, great job on presenting all that. And this podcast is over.